Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be going through my team reveal, going through my trades for round 7 of the AFL fantasy season. So before we jump into it, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's jump into this video. And there we go, a little bit delayed there. First of all, defenders, not much has actually changed for the defender line, only that we are not going with the three, we are going with the three actual defenders on field at the moment, and that is all based on Luke Trainer. I just want to see him off the bench, off the using the emergency. If he does fail, then you'll see the other guys. There's plenty of guys, and I'm like, okay, if he scores like say a 50 score or something like that, I'm prepared to just risk it with other guys that may have a sort of bottom out of a 30 or 40, but have the real potential to go 70, 80 plus and really put a gain on there. So yeah, Luke Trainer, hopefully he gets back to his really good role. He shouldn't be sub tonight. He's named on field, and the coach has said, she has said that they're not going to put him sub again, so he should be fine. And that was just management, it sounds like. So hopefully, yeah, he puts up a 70 or 80 score. Hopefully he also doesn't do too well in Supercoach, maybe like a 50 in Supercoach or something like that. And then we can go from there, but I don't think he's going to be too impactful in the long run. He's going to be a guy in the next couple of weeks that we look at potentially trading out. We'll just have to see what his projection says for his break even, as it does take a lot longer for his break even to adjust in fantasy as well. I just think that there's some other guys that I want to trade out over him, just so I can get to said player this week. But anyway, having said all that, the back line, yeah, pretty much the same as it is always. Yeah, just that we put, what did we actually do in the end? So in the trades, we got rid of Jaden Short and basically put Jack Sinclair there, finally getting rid of Short because he had a stinker of a last quarter. So watch him put up 110 this week. Because that's the way it is when you start upgrade these sort of half guys. I don't have enough cash at the moment to do a rookie upgrade, whereas next week I might actually have the ability to do that. It might be a forward that I go to next weekend, if I still hold a Sanders or whatever. But yeah, will be interesting. But I'll have, say, 600k from say a Davidson, and 500 and say even just 630k from a Davidson or something like that. Yeah, 640, maybe 650 from Davidson, and then change that with Trainer and get all the way up to that could actually get me up to a big guy. But if it was, say, a Finn O'Sullivan and a Connor Stone, then I'd be pushing at sort of that. As you can see here, Finn O'Sullivan could be maybe 420k, and Connor Stone maybe around that 440k, plus the 80k there would get me 860, 940, which would get me someone in the sort of 700k range. Not really anyone, so I'm probably going to have to use Sam Davidson next week, but let's just hope he can put up a decent enough score just to help me out this week. Having said all that, Harry Sheasel, let's actually readjust this just quickly here. Nick Dacos holds it good. And you'll see the one guy that I brought in is Jai Newcomb. I think that Connor Nash being out, him taking the number 1 mantle, should actually really help him out a lot. And yeah, I think he's a guy that has a really kind matchup for the next 3 games. I hope that I fixed it this time, so I can actually show you strength of schedule to the bye. If we go to the bye here, round 14, look at this for Hawthorn. And I will make it slightly a little bit more dubious here. And we go here, you'll see Hawthorn has the best plus minus in terms of inside mids. Sorry, that's key forwards actually. But I think inside mid should hold roughly the same. Hawthorn plus 1.75 if you would go to round 14. And if we go to round 13, that goes all the way up to 1.88, only beaten by the likes of St Kilda. And you can just see this run here, especially for the next 4 weeks. If we even dumb that down to round 10, you'll see that they have a plus 4.22 average, and we expect him to also get a really increased role, that is of Jai Newcomb, that he should be able to go and score, I would think, maybe even close to 120 for the next 4 weeks, 120, 125 for the next 4 weeks, go bang, 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 and suddenly he's looking really good and heads into some tougher matchups, but Nash should be back, and by then, even if Nash is back, he should still be able to go 115. I think this is a risk that I'm willing to take over like a Petrarca, who we really haven't actually seen him score top end scoring, whereas Newcomb is 1 or 2 bad games away. Even if these are, say, low, these 70s and 80s scores, if one of them's another ton game, then that turns his average from a 106 all the way up to like a 107 or so, 108. And he suddenly, instead of being the 18th rank for the comp, he'd be probably like 10th or so, I think. Let's actually see if I can find a 107 guy. Yeah, Nick Dacos is 105 and he is there. Just trying to think, is there anyone else that's in and around that 107 marker? 102 here to Koning's 98, to McRae maybe? No, Baz Link is 110 and he's 8th. So yeah, I think a 107 would be somewhere in that sort of 10 range for scoring overall. Rosie is 10th on a 108, 108.7. So yeah, Newcomb I think is a guy that could really step it up, and that's why he's in the side this week. Caleb Sarong, hopefully he picks it up. He's been a disappointing pick for me this year, especially in fantasy. Supercoach, not as much because he's averaging like 102 in Supercoach, which is a little bit better. But yeah, fantasy-wise, just a really poor pick. He's like 30th for midfielders or something like that. And yeah, just not living up to it. Oliver, 98.2. He's doing all right, but not fantastic. And then Levi Ashcroft. And there's some talk of potentially Xavier Lindsay as the sub tonight, but I hope not, as that would mean Tunstall or Gross would have to come in, and I'd probably have to play trainer score. But we'll see how that goes. I wanted to take advantage of looking at Gawn's stats there for him against the likes of him against the Richmond matchup, sorry. And it looks really good, I think, across both. And that's why I'm willing to put him VC on the Thursday and into a Nick Dacos on the Friday. If we look at him against Richmond and we look at the stats here, it's up pretty high. It's his second best matchup. Should have probably gone from the top down. But he's gone 134, 131, 96, 119, 107, 133, 104 in the last 7 years. And a couple of them have also been in the when he was playing in the shortened games. A 133 in a shortened game is quite ridiculous, but in non-shortened games since 2020, let's just put it, 6 games 120 is quite a ridiculous average. And I can tell you that most of those should be against Nank, you would expect, but let's just double check that for you guys. But yeah, so in this one, it was Nankervis. In this one here, it wasn't Nankervis. So that was why he dominated in the game in 2023, 17. But he had Brodie Grundy as well in that game in 2023. What about this game? Soldo, and it was just Gawn on himself. He went 174 Supercoach. So yeah, you can just see the stats lining up. Nankervis and then Gawn. He's gone 134, 162. That is a ridiculous set of numbers in 2024. So I'm looking at that and thinking that could be a really, really good shout. And he also did it with Luke Jackson there by his side as well. So he's done it before, and I think that could be a really, really good shout for a VC. And then the captaincy going to Nick Dacos. If you look at his numbers, if we just go back to DFS, should have probably kept that tab open. But is what it is. If we go back to DFS and look at Nick Dacos' numbers against the likes of Essendon, I'm pretty sure his last 2 Anzac days, he's gone berserk against them. So let's just look at that quickly here. If we go to Essendon, he's got a high of 140. And you see last 2 Anzac days, he's gone 96 and a 140 against them. So he's gone 119. And then in the last couple years, and he averages 100 against them in playing on ball. So yeah, I think he's a guy that could really do really well. And yeah, I think he's a guy that could be the captaincy potential. as yeah, if he just gets involved around the grounds well. His tackling's really picked up in the last sort of 12 to 18 months, I would say. And so, yeah, I'm really looking at that, thinking he could put up a really good score. And yeah, he could put up a 130 score here in a captaincy game. So yeah, that's a really good score in fantasy captaincy. So looking at that for Nick Dacos, and that's why he's got the captaincy on. And then everything else is pretty much the same. Playing Sam Davidson on field over Caden Cleary, just to sort of stick with the crowd, really, because Sam Davidson is so highly owned and probably just going to be on field for most people. So yeah, going a little bit rogue with Jai Newcomb, but aside from that, pretty much the side is what it is. Next week, it probably is Davidson and Finn O'Sullivan or Trainer to the likes of a Rankin or something like that is probably what I plan to do. And then the week after, hope that Tunstall alongside Cleary alongside Stone or something like that, or maybe it is just a Davidson and Stone to a Rankin if that's possible, but I'm not 100% sure about Rankin's 893 with an 84 break even, so you're probably going to need 1.15 1.16 million to get to that, and that Stone and Davidson get me to like 1.08, so that would be almost impossible to do it anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously those two could make more cash. They're probably on hand to make about 80-90k in the next week or so, which would get that to, let's just say I'd be close with I think Davidson and Stone next week to get to Rankin. It might mean that I have to dump a Trainer potentially, but we'll see how that goes. But that is sort of the plan for the next little bit. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later for the Supercoach team review video or team preview for round 7. So I'll see you guys then. Bye guys.